Hi, my name is Aaron Linsdau. I'm a polar explorer and motivational speaker. It's review day! And as you can tell by what I've got in my hand, yes, we're reviewing the Benchmade Bushcrafter 162 model. Is this the best bushcraft knife out there? Let's find out. Is the Benchmade Bushcrafter 162 knife one of the best bush knives out there? In my humble opinion, absolutely. This thing is a beefcake of a knife. When you're looking for the option of knives to take into the field with you so you can go camping or survivaling, or maybe you say, hey, I want one knife and I need it to do a lot of things. What do I choose? You're going to be hard-pressed to go wrong with this Bushcrafter knife, the 162. I mean, it's just literally incredible. I mean, when you hold this thing, it feels like you have got something solid in your hands. The blade is extra thick. This thing's pretty much about as thick as my K-Bar BK7 without being, 8 to 12 inches long. The handle, it's a G10 composite, so it makes it very grippy without being rubberized. It's actually quite nice. You can see the surface texture on there. It's really quite nice, and you can see that instead of just a straight stock handle, they actually give you multiple shapes to grab your hand, because this part of your hand is actually fatter, so when you grab your hand and wrap around that knife, it actually works very well and feels quite natural. The finger guard on this isn't too absurdly pronounced, but it's definitely there. So when you hold your knife, you're not going to likely slip and hack your finger on there. I mean, it would be possible to do that, but just the nature of how that is set, the blade does not go all the way to the base of the handle, which is nice. So it makes it much easier to sharpen. Also, this knife has 2 holes in here, so if you need to attach, you put a stick on this thing. I don't have a stick, shoot. Should have grabbed a stick for this thing, but if you need to attach your knife to a stick for whatever reason, for extra chopping power, maybe as a spear, for a survivalist defensive weapon, can't go wrong. Huge advantage because the blade goes all the way through the Tang. This feature on a knife is something you really want to consider. When you're looking at a knife that you're going to take out in the bush, it's going to take a beating. Does the blade go all the way through the handle into the back? Does it only drop a little bit into the handle? Does it only create a rat tail? This is the best and strongest way to make a knife, is where the blade stock goes all the way through the handle, all the way to the end, wraps around, and you have no question that what is inside this knife is nothing but CPM 30 steel. Now I'm talking about this S30V steel. Why is this steel something to consider? Well, long ago, carbon steel came about. Somebody figured out how to mix a little bit of carbon soda ash into iron, get it all going, and all of a sudden you have carbon steel. The Becker BK7, where is that guy? This knife here, this huge knife, absurdly huge knife in fact, is 1095 steel. It can take a beating. The 1095 steel is super tough. The S30V steel is really good. It is not as impact abuse resistant as I would say traditional high carbon steel. This is a stainless steel. That said, because this is a powder design steel, it's specially mixed so you get much more uniform crystals of metal. I know it sounds weird, but metal crystals form to create this stock, so it makes it very, very sharp. It holds an edge for really long. It is tough. I would only lightly batten with this knife though. I mean, like that 1095 steel, you could beat that stuff all day. That's what the leaf springs in a pickup are made of, 1085, 1095. This guy, it's thick enough, I would say it could probably take a beating forever. It's originally the Siebert design people. When you go to a knife show or SHOT Show, knives galore. Siebert's definitely one of the big names. Let me show you how much this guy weighs. I mean, it's a beefcake. All right, I'm gonna get my scale out here. We'll fire that up and we'll get this all zoomed in for you. Cool. Move that over a little bit. This knife is heavy. That is 7.6 ounces. Compare that to, say, a Hinkle kitchen knife, something very substantial, 9.5. So it's not as heavy as a kitchen knife, but this guy is really, really heavy. You toss in a leather sheath. I prefer the leather sheath of the Kydex just to be a little more fashionable with this guy. And you're up at 10 ounces, so about 2/3 of a pound. How long is this knife? Well, let me give you an idea. Just compare it to my Hinkle kitchen knife, right? It's not nearly as large as a kitchen knife, but look how fat this guy is compared to a very nice professional Hinkle knife. I mean, this thing is thick. But you can see, obviously, it's not nearly the size of a kitchen knife, but definitely much more, much fatter than a paring knife. But let's compare it to, say, a zero tolerance. Check it out. The bushcraft knife, this is bigger. One of the rules that people talk about in knife use in the backcountry is a small knife can never do the job of a big knife, but a big knife can always do the job of a small knife. So does that mean you walk around with something totally absurd? No, definitely not. But hey. This guy, you have the option of getting a Kydex sheath with it or a leather sheath. I just happened to, I got this leather sheath at a Mountain Man retreat in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And I prefer it. I just slide it right in there, wiggle it in, hangs with a classic belt loop. I mean, it's pretty hard to go wrong with this thing. I mean, it feels incredibly good in my hands. You definitely don't want to make a mistake with this thing. We'll do the sharpness test here. This edge is still, after slicing and dicing, it sits on my thumbnail and it catches without a problem. It is also very, very easy to sharpen this particular knife because it's a straight edge. It's got this classic rounded point here, or the drop point. And you simply put it in and you draw it through on, right now it's so sharp I don't need to sharpen it, but I'm just using it on the ceramic, and it's just that easy. I mean, it slices like nothing. So let me show you how well it slices with the old cardboard test here. Alrighty, I'll tilt this down. Check that out. Alright, so this is a beefcake of a knife. We'll zoom in here. Alright. And we'll put that in, we'll catch the cardboard. Oh, you can't see it. I'm not very good at cutting with my left hand, unfortunately. I don't want to hack myself, but you put it in there, you draw along, and let's see, how well did it cut through? Pretty good, no problem there. What about the penetration test when you need to stab into something and cut it open? How well does this knife work? So I've got my handy dandy container that I've stabbed quite a few times doing these videos, but just to show you how well and easy this knife penetrates into here. So you just push this tip against here, wiggle a little bit. Now because it's fat, it's not as easy to penetrate. So you definitely have to apply more force, but once you get going, check that out. That is one serious honkin' knife. So this, let me see, the Bushcrafter, sorry, just checking out my notes to make sure I don't miss anything, but the Bushcrafter knife by Benchmade, the 162 version, if you want to go the end-all be-all of Bushcrafter knives, this is it. Check out the links below. If you hit the little arrow below the video, it'll expand out and you can check out the links to this knife and the other items I mentioned in this video. You can't go wrong with this thing. As a full disclosure, I do not receive compensation or free knives from Benchmade. All my reviews are just on my own volition to share my experiences of the products I use and the things that have taken me all in the wilderness and all around the world. Please support my channel on Venmo, PayPal, and Patreon. Please like and comment on my videos. Scroll to the bottom, add a comment. Also, if you got a moment, hit that subscribe button. Just subscribe to the channel and you get my latest updates, reviews, travel tips, motivational information, everything in my YouTube channel. My name is Linsdau. I'm a polar explorer and motivational speaker. Thank you for watching.